To me, enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Bring us down. I try to be a disciple, listening well, but
Hey guys, welcome back to Queen of the Indies Corner with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host as always, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany. And today I have my good friend Kalvin DuMont. Welcome, how are ya?
I'm great. I'm Kalvin DuMont. Everything is amazing in my life.
Yeah, look at that title, which we're going to talk
Yeah.
about. Just shine it for the podcast, pretty much.
Yeah, it's very shiny. It just feels like it belongs on my body, you know?
Awesome. So, guys, if you're new here to the Under the Rope series, here I interview everything independent wrestling, whether it's wrestlers, promoters, backstage. I got you covered. If you guys got questions for Kalvin, please feel free, drop it into the chat. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. So, all right, let's talk a little bit of background with you because I want to talk a little bit about the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. So, give us a little bit about there and training and all that.
Well, yes, New England Pro Wrestling Academy, it bills itself as the premier pro wrestling academy in New England, and I think that title is justly deserved. I mean, for starters, I trained there. What more do you need to know? But to elaborate a bit more, nobody can reach my level on the Dumont scale, but there are some people at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy that are skilled enough to rise to such a caliber they might get around a 5 or 6, if that. But quality training, some decently good people there that almost impress me. I mean, it's very difficult to impress me. I don't think anyone has ever impressed me besides myself. So.
Okay, well, there you have it. So, let me see. We got some people in the chat already. Make sure you, hit that like button, hit that share button. We'll get some people in here. Good Cop, Bad Cop's in here. He goes, wow, made it on time this week, finally. How's it going, Kalvin and Tiffany? I'm good.
I'm Kalvin DuMont. I'm great. That's a redundant question.
And then Jeff's in here. Jeff says, put that ring on, but over your face. The do-rag.
No accounting for taste.
He said, you're too busy looking in the mirror to see anybody else's talent.
Anybody else's talent. The only talent I need to see is when I look in the mirror. Okay, so just write that down.
All right. So there you go. All right. So clearly, like, I know you. I've seen you in person wrestle and everything like that. But for a fan that's never seen you wrestle before, what's a match that you would tell them that, to become an instant fan of you?
I'd say one of the most recent matches that I had that just screams Calvin is when I wrestled the Big Cheese Tony Navarro in Watertown, Massachusetts. It was a Pan-Optic Championship match, and yeah, but it rubbed me the wrong way how he made his entrance dancing like that, fooling people into cheering for something so distasteful, so unclassy, in my opinion. So I challenged him to a dance-off, and I think I won soundly, and out of jealousy, he attacked me after that. The rest is history. I won the match and the dance-off. Nothing more needs to be said about that, but go ahead and watch it.
Definitely check that out. So Chaotic Wrestling. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more deeper into that, so you guys can watch that on Twitch. You can watch it like live when they have their shows, so make sure you're following Chaotic Wrestling as well. I don't know, there's a lot. I mean, there is definitely a lot that we could talk about. You know, Chaotic Wrestling, you winning the Pan-Optic champion. You know, I think one of the things that we should talk about before we go into any more matches, because we got to talk about like all the photos that you've been taking with this championship belt.
Mm.
You know, so what else should we expect? Where else would you like to be taking photos? What goes through your brain, while you take these photos?
I think what generally goes through my brain when I'm taking those photos is, wow, I'm just so great. I need to take a photo to capture this moment with a backdrop that's almost as beautiful as me and my title gleaming in the sunlight or the sunset or in the firelight. Just a little reminder of everyone's place on the food chain, the pecking order, as you will, and just why I'm champion and they're not.
So any other like ideas of like places that, goals that you want to be taking some of these photos at?
Well, since things are warming up, I have been going up to my daddy's house overlooking the marina in New Hampshire a bit more and more. So maybe next time I go up there, I'll take the belt, take a picture in front of his marina, maybe by the fireplace. Just a little glimpse into just how down to earth and humble I can be.
Mm. Well, we've had Spike on a couple of weeks ago, and there was a clip that somebody clipped and was posted on social media and everything like that. And the conversation kind of went into the fact that it was like, well, why haven't we seen the classic Shawn Michaels pose?
The classic Shawn Michaels pose with this belt.
Mm-hmm.
I did post some. There's the one of my banner on Twitter, and I did post a couple of those showing how it's actually done as opposed to that cheap Photoshop and the much better tan that I have than Shawn Michaels did back in the day. I chose to do it wearing clothes to be just a little bit tasteful, but mainly because I didn't want to just give people a heart attack out of just elation and joy and mainly jealousy, seeing what my body looks like and comparing it to themselves. I'm not even I am that cruel, although to be honest, I don't care that much, but I just didn't do it.
Okay. I mean, like I brought up Spike, so I feel like we have to go down that path now, pretty much, and stuff like that. So, there was just so much, history with you guys, and she talked about how, like you annoy her. So, what are your thoughts about all this?
Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and most of the world is blind, is the way I like to think about it. To have such an amazing opportunity right in front of you, to have probably the greatest employer in all of professional wrestling, and to take that and act so unprofessional about it, so angry and petulant, I just had to fire her. And yeah, what's done is done. I'm looking forward to my very, very, very bright future.
Okay. Jeff in the chat says your attitude needs some Summer's Eve, DuMont. He goes, I'm allowed to say that. And he said he was better as Mecca's ref when he was quiet.
I honestly don't know what he's talking about. I've never met a man named Mecca. I've never been a referee. I would never debase myself by being the help like that. But whoever he's talking about, I'm sure is very attractive and talented.
Okay. Good Cop, Bad Cop says, oh, just saw Kalvin's picture on Twitter from a few days ago. Great seat. The fellow Red Sox fan wants to know your favorite current all-time Sox player.
I think I'd have to go with David Ortiz, just because greatness recognizes greatness, and he also went on national television and said this is our fucking city. So
Okay.
respect.
Okay, there you go. There you have it. All right, I think a match that we definitely need to talk about, if nobody's actually seen this one, go back and watch it, is you and Anthony Green. With
Absolutely.
Anthony Green's been like all over the place, Noah, New Japan, everything, so
Mm.
uh talk to us a little bit about like how special this is, because like Anthony Green's all over the place. He's working all different, you know, indie talents out there. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, Anthony Green is a fantastic wrestler. I mean, that goes without saying. As you put it, he's gone everywhere. He was even with WWE for a time.
Hmm.
Um, and just both of us being on such a similar lauded skill level in our careers in pro wrestling, it really came down to a battle of wits at that point. Um, I'd like to think I won the battle of wits, but somehow I lost the match. Um, Towards the end, it became a bit of a rush, but I blame the ref.
So is this something like you would definitely like to like run back? Is there anything that you feel like you've gained
Absolutely.
out of this, like that you've learned for the future for, in wrestling?
Well, 1 year of Calvin wrestling is like reverse dog years to other wrestlers, where one wrestler may spend a year training, working on the indies, getting a bit better. For me, that's worth 3 years just with the exponential amount of talent and charisma I gain each and every time I go out there. Um, but yes, I would absolutely take time out of my very busy and grueling vacation schedule if needed to run that match back against Anthony Green because I know the fans definitely want to see me beat him this time, and Calvin DuMont is synonymous with being charitable. So, yeah.
Okay. So any thoughts of like who your next match will be? Like who do you want to wrestle for the Panoptic Championship?
Well, I know my next match for the Panoptic Championship is June 12th at Night Shift Brewery against Sean, the vegan
Hmm.
Keegan. I mean, seriously, restricting your diet that much when things like foie gras and tiramisu, caviar exist, I think it's just mind-boggling.
I'm glad that he's back. He's doing well after his like injury and everything like that. I see like he hasn't like missed a beat. So are you a little worried about this, or you're like, oh okay, well he's vegan, so it's like I got this.
Well, I don't care that he's a very large, muscular man, or that he's the plant-based powerhouse, or that he's a very strong wrestler. I knew that um, in my time during my few debuts at Chaotic when he very viciously attacked me without cause,
Hmm.
I may add. But again, I think he might just approach a 4, maybe a 4.5 on Dumont scale. Obviously, I'm past a 10 on the Dumont scale, so I'm not particularly worried about losing my title. I just hope that he doesn't get his grubby plant encrusted hands on me too much.
Okay, there you have it. So that's June 12th. I have the flyer up here. So again, if you can't make it, definitely check it out. Chaotic is now also streaming on YouTube as well, which is great. So
Yes,
if you
they
don't have
are.
Twitch, you can also go onto the YouTube. So shout out to everybody over at Chaotic Wrestling. Um, I definitely think we should talk about Proving Ground. Shout out to Todd. He's doing great things with Proving Ground up in Mass. So, and they're also on IWTV as well. So you could check that out. So most recently, like you've also like have worked Ariel. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I was trying something a bit new over there. Uh, I wanted to see how easy it was to manipulate fans, so I pretended that I liked them,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked. They cheered for me, which they should regardless. But then, uh, unfortunately, I did lose to her. Then after that, I wrestled Joey Warner,
Mm-hmm.
and then appeared in a Rumble for Proving Ground. So it's safe to say that you can expect to see me back there decently soon. Uh, yeah, the ticket prices will probably soar after my next match is announced because everyone wants to see me.
Mm.
So
Was there anybody that caught your eye over there that you wanna get in the ring with, or is it
I
just
don't
like
think
everybody really
want
should be wanting to wrestle you?
everyone should be wanting to wrestle me. I don't think me wanting to wrestle anyone over there would be an appropriate term just because, as you said, everyone should want to wrestle me. I've got a lot bigger things on my plate than my next match. Like my daddy's private jet is out of commission right now, so I don't know how I'm gonna get to my next vacation in Rome, and it's honestly kind of stressing me out a bunch because I'm not sure if just taking one of the yachts over there would be too grueling because it would be a decently long trip, and I think there's only a few bottles of champagne there currently, so I would have to restock as well.
Mm. Well, maybe, some people want to donate to the Calvin Fund to help out with all that, maybe, send him a message, help him out a
Of
little
course.
bit, maybe. So, all right, another thing we got to talk about, all right, let's talk about your entrance music. So, a little
Mm,
Backstreet Boys going on there, which, I'm kind of surprised because, I feel like Backstreet Boys is my era, and I'm so much older
mm,
than you. Um, so I was kind of surprised to hear like this was your entrance, and I love it. It's a bop, like I say. But
of
what
course.
made you pick this for it?
Well, I wanted to find some music that properly matched the aura and charisma that I have, and obviously the Backstreet Boys were the cream of the crop, the boy band to end all boy bands. One of them did message me recently saying that if I was born a decade or two earlier, they absolutely would have loved to have me, but it just didn't work out. But I think we've always had that kind of connection
Hmm.
ever since I was born of just being like the type of guy that everyone admires.
Mm. Could we possibly see one day like Backstreet Boys, like like maybe like a Cold Fury, like that they come out, they play while you come out? Like, is this like your mania moment?
Perhaps. Or maybe they'll just come out for my mania moment because I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Mm. Okay, okay. All right, let's see. Let's do some fan questions here. Katrina left this one on Instagram. So she says, "How do you make being the best look so sexy?"
I don't know what to say. I guess when I was born, God owed me a favor.
Okay, okay. We have another one from My Alter Ego. He said, "First off, you're both doing great work. Now, my question is, with all the money that you inherited, would you ever think about perhaps a customized panoptic championship?" Ooh, I like this one.
I'd be lying if I said the thought hadn't crossed my mind. Um, I definitely have considered it. I think at this point, I'm just waiting to see if the fans at Chaotic are giving me the respect I deserve. And then if they are, then maybe I'll reward them with a customized Calvin Panoptic Championship just to solidify my status as one of the greatest Chaotic champions of all time.
Mm. What is your favorite belt like that like ever existed?
This one because I own it.
Oh, okay. So I should have known better on that question pretty much there. So,
Yeah.
sorry. Jeff says, "I can't wait till someone makes you go bye bye bye." Damn, we got a little in sync going on in here.
Well, Jeff, I'm sure you made the very common mistake that is, again, common with people of the working class and the little roles milling about. I bet you thought that Bye 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 was made by Backstreet Boys, and now you look like a fool because it's revealed that it's NSYNC. It's not even the same band, barely even the same genre. And newsflash for you, Calvin DuMont isn't going bye 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 anytime soon because he's got it going on.
Well, there you go. There you go. Ed Fries just entered the chat. He goes, "Hey, hey, hey, thanks for joining us here." So, shout out to someone from Streams in here too. What's going on? Let's see. All right, what else? Just making sure that I'm getting all the questions into the chat. So, All right. So actually, Jeff had left some questions like when I posted the podcast was going to
Mm.
happen. So he said, serious question. What has been some advice from a veteran you got that really helped you?
Be yourself. Don't care about what other people think because you're in there and they're out of there, you know? Don't be apologetic. You're there for a reason. You're there because you belong there. And no fans can take that away from you. I took some poetic license elaborating on that advice, but yeah, it very much spoke to me just because obviously I'm not apologetic of who I am, and everyone should thank me for being myself.
Mm, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have another funny question from him. He goes, Are you wrestling tight adult size? I'm sure it's hard to find an 18 waist."
Of course, everything that I own is custom made, Baroque. Um, I'd say the most difficult part about the gear that I make is just the weighting, because having that much gold inlaid into fabric, it takes a very long time. I think people would consider it expensive. I don't know because money isn't a problem to me, but yes, just knowing that I'm gonna have yet another set of gear that's going to look absolutely gorgeous and just having to wait that long can be very painful.
How do you come up with your gear since we're talking like gear?
Well, the last set that I got, the blue with the fleur de lis,
Mhm.
um, you know, the Dumont family name is very old and very lauded. It has been all over the place throughout history. I know at some point, it can be a bit fuzzy just because a lot of family historical documents were lost.
Mhm.
I don't remember which exact battle it
Mhm.
was because the documents were lost, but we're pretty sure that the Dumonts resided in France at some point and were very close friends with one of the King Louis.
Mhm.
So I got a gear with a fleur de lis on it to honor medieval French royalty and the friendship they had with us.
Okay. Okay. Definitely enjoyed that. Um, so unfortunately, I wasn't able to come to Creator Pro this past Saturday. So, but you got to, like make your debut on a big Creator Pro show
Hmm.
and be in the Rumble. So, this will eventually be out on, I'm pretty sure, like YouTube or
Yes.
usually down the line it comes on IWTV, but usually they pop it up on YouTube first. So you can definitely check that out. Make sure you're following Creative Pro Wrestling or whatever. So give us a little bit because like unfortunately I wasn't there. I didn't get to see it. I saw a couple of pictures, So maybe you can share with us a little bit more about that.
Well, yes, there were a great number of people in the ring, far more than I would have liked, because that's a lot of very smelly people of a class lower than mine milling about and rubbing up against me, which I didn't enjoy. Um, I know that Tommy Invincible was the first person to get eliminated. Everyone pitched him out, and I was a close second. I think that they just sensed how big of a threat I was and how easily I could win if they weren't careful, and they didn't all work together against me. So they made sure to unionize and eliminate me very quickly, which I didn't appreciate, especially the unionizing part.
Mhm. Well, maybe you will be back down the line at another,
Mm,
Creative Pro show. I mean, it's like I said, big show, definitely. So congrats that
yes.
you made an appearance and come down here in New York as well. Let's see. Good Cap Captains in the chat. When you win a belt, do you have to sanitize it after it's been touched by common wrestlers?
Yes, that is an excellent question. I do have it go through a bit of a cleaning process. When I'm not personally holding it, I have, or it has its own crew of white gloves to treat it and transport it with the respect that it deserves being associated with me and such. But yes, it does go through a deep cleaning and then is sprayed with a bit of the cologne that I'm feeling that particular month.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's about half a bottle, so like just like a small like 10 grand sprayed on it, you know.
Wow. What cologne's
But
on
yeah,
this month?
I think Dior, one of those. I don't pay attention. I don't buy any cologne that isn't at least 15 grand just because I know it's going to be of really poor quality. So I just mainly look at the price tags, and then if it's above that margin, then I get it. And I know it's going to make me smell even nicer if that is possible.
Oh, okay, okay. John's in the chat. He goes, "Hey Tiff, much love as always. As far as the Panoptic Champion, I can't help but notice the drinks in the background. So, what is your drink of choice?" Ooh, good
Hmm.
question.
I think my drink of choice would either be a well-aged Super Tuscan, 20 years at the very least. I would never go any lower than that. It would taste like grape juice. But I'm a very down-to-earth guy and understand that every once in a blue moon, one of the Michelin restaurants that I go to, for whatever reason, won't have that
Mm,
on tap. So, my go-to simple cocktail when I need something safe that I know anyone with a brain will be able to make is just a very simple gin martini.
okay, okay. Olives, onions.
Olives
Okay,
with the
yeah.
blue cheese on the inside. I like that.
There you go. Good Cop Bad Cop says, luckily the family moved to America. They were using the guillotine pretty freely in the late 1700s. Okay.
I think one of my ancestors met Monsieur Ghiati. I don't remember though.
Mm, okay. Coach C's in the chat. What's going on? Welcome. He says, Calvin rules. Sky is the limit.
Uh, I appreciate the appreciation, but one small correction to that. The sky is not the limit. Not even the stars are the limit. Um, I'm always pushing boundaries, even on the Dumont scale. Um, I started as a 10 on the Dumont scale, obviously, but I've already reached to at least a 12, and I'm continuing to climb.
Okay. Okay. Then we had another fan tweet from actually Good Cop Bad Cop that he had posted. He said, "Would Calvin DuMont be an anagram of van donut milk? Imagine you're driving around in a van and you want something sweet to eat and drink. What type of donut are you grabbing, and what type of milk are you getting to accompany it?"
Milk. Skim milk. I need to keep my absolutely gorgeous washboard. And in terms of donuts, hmm, probably vanilla frosted. Not the glazed one, but the one that looks like a jelly donut that has the frosting on the inside. It's the closest thing to a pastry I can get at your standard donut shop.
Okay. Okay, there you go. Um, so I don't know if the fans know. Obviously we have to talk about it, but you have made appearances on The Walking Dead. I have
Yes,
some
I have.
photos here. So if you guys are listening to the audio version, please go back to the video version, and you can see like all the photos pretty much going on here. So give us a little bit, like, this is, really interesting that you got to be part of that.
Yeah, so obviously AMC reached out to me and begged me to be on their show because they knew it would boost the numbers and they knew it would boost the viewership. Um, I personally decided that I wanted a background role as opposed to a speaking role just because I didn't want to take the spotlight off of the main actors such as Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who, by the way, said I was very talented just because I know that they have to work for a living. It's their show. And nobody can ever speak about Kalvin DuMont without calling him generous. So I decided to take that back seat. Um, a little bit of background on the group that I'm a part of. They are called the Foragers. Um, without spoiling a bit too much, not that I care about anybody else's enjoyment of the show, but because I like being coy like that. Um, they've been in Central Park since the beginning. All of them were part of the same class field trip. Um, this is not a joke. It did say in the casting script for Foragers that they ought to be very young and very athletic looking.
Hmm.
So, needless to say, I was one of those chosen because I am in ridiculously good shape. But yes, I did hear from a lot of PAs on set that the Foragers were their favorite group because it was all a bunch of young studs like myself around the same age, just hanging out and shooting the shit with all of the other crew members and such. Obviously, I got my own trailer, but I did see it from the window a little bit.
Mm. Give us like a little more. Like, how is that like with the makeup and like how long,
Mm.
like, like sitting there, like in the chair? Because like we see like photos, like, if you like watch, backstage stuff in general for shows, like sometimes it could be hours doing makeup for this.
Yes, the makeup was a bit quicker,
Hmm.
uh, just in general, because since The Walking Dead is an apocalyptic setting, they don't have to put on a bunch of different makeup to make you look nice and pretty
Hmm.
and such. They need to make you look dirty because there aren't showers
Hmm.
in the apocalypse, let alone post-apocalyptic Manhattan. So it was just generally a bit of just an all-round dirt solution on the face and the hands. They even put some under my fingernails, which I very much hated. Um, I think the hardest part of me for that was that I didn't shave my face or style my hair at all because they wanted that very authentic look.
Hmm.
Um, they had my hair in a very matted sense, as you could see in some of the photographs,
Hmm.
and you just like little bits of either wool or cotton
Hmm.
hanging out of them. But I think the biggest difficulty with our costumes was both a blessing and a curse because we did have a good number of nighttime shoots,
Hmm.
the Foragers did, and all the people that were in Walker costumes were freezing their butts off, which I found hilarious, obviously, because they just had very thin clothing. But our costumes consisted of shirts, multiple layers, some hide vests. I personally had like an entire wool vest and then like some ghillie on top of that. So we were all very warm and toasty the whole time. However, that was also a huge hazard on set because it was real ghillie. It wasn't just string. They had
Hmm.
actual dried grass and plants on our costumes, and there were a lot of open flames on set. So even though I thought it would have been hilarious if somebody caught on fire, it didn't happen.
So how was that like watching back, like seeing it actually on TV and like having friends and family, I'm sure, with you watching this?
I mean, even I have to admit it was one of the coolest things I have ever done.
Hmm.
I felt right at home there just because you could tell that it was such a very high budget, high quality production. They spared no expense. They had real flames, real produce on set, mushrooms, nuts, and such. And my personal favorite was the basil that they had on there. A little Easter egg for all of my adoring fans. There is one scene when they first enter the Forger's abode where they sit down with our matriarch Roxana, and then Armstrong and uh, Narvaez are sitting across from her. And as they're discussing their next course of action, in between their two heads, in the background, it is blurry, but you will see me just step between them and stare at them while eating basil. It took many takes, and I had to skip lunch because I ate so much basil. But I'm a performer. Even I suffer for my art sometimes because I can't help but just producing absolute beauty.
Mm. Mm. Pretty cool. Are we gonna see more in the future?
More from Walking Dead or more in general?
Both.
Well, in Walking Dead, without divulging too much, I will say that having long lives is a very precious and rare commodity for those characters. So I'll leave it at that. In terms of other work, I think my fans will be pleased to know that I'm actually doing more background performing tomorrow for the new Anthony Bourdain film that is coming out.
Ooh.
Because I'm a hot product. Every large production wants me.
Oh, there you go. There you have it. Wait, I see some stuff in the chat. Good Cop, Bad Cop says, I could only apologize to Calvin for my donut question. Getting the vibes Calvin isn't a donut person, thinking more of a croissant person.
I'm a tiramisu guy myself, and a little bit of background of tiramisu because I'm sure not many people are classy enough to know exactly what it is. Um, I have actually not participated, but partaken in the fruits of this labor. Every year in Italy, they have a competition for the best tiramisu,
Mm-hmm.
and every year there are two winners because they make either traditional tiramisu with coffee dust in it,
Mm-hmm.
or they make non-traditional tiramisu with spirits. And obviously, if they made something as untraditional and, in my opinion, watery as spirited tiramisu and that one, there would be a public outcry. And I don't need that happening so close to my daddy's villa. So I'm glad that they have two separate winners every year. And I personally prefer more traditional tiramisu.
I feel like that, you should bottle that up and you should be selling that at merch stands at, these wrestling shows, like the Calvin
Tiramisu
DuMont.
in a
Yeah.
bottle.
Not
It's a
bottle.
pastry.
Not bottle. But yeah, I think you should sell that at your, merch tables. So, let's see. Jeff says, took them only 5 minutes. He's already busted. I got to get my boots on. Shit's getting deep. Yeah, we're getting deep on here pretty much. So, I know we have to talk about your shirt going on over here.
Oh yes, this is a bit of AMC's The Walking Dead, Dead City swag,
Mm-hmm.
as the hip people call it. Me being a hip person, I knew that. Um, but yes, is it a baseball jersey? It says um the Dead City Walkers on it, and on this side you can see a baseball themed skull with two Lucille barbed wire baseball bats
Mm-hmm.
on either side, a la Crossbones,
Mm-hmm.
and the same thing appears on the back. Um, they basically begged me to give me one of these for free, but again, I'm a very charitable person, so I decided to purchase one for myself to just support the little guys, you know? AMC is relatively small company from what I remember.
That's very big of you.
Yeah.
So I feel like that we need to ask a classic question on this podcast. Craziest thing a fan's done to get your attention?
This one is actually inappropriate per se, um, just because of the cuss words involved. However, I remember when I came out wrestling next to Aggro and Jay, endearing myself to them with my amazing personality and quick wit.
Mm-hmm.
I was selling my patented DuMont group merchandise at the merchandise table during intermission, and one little girl came up to me and yelled at the top of her lungs, "Hey, Calvin, jump off of Agru's dick." And I just thought, wow, she definitely just said that. A 12-year-old girl said that to me. She didn't buy
Wow.
anything.
Same. Should have yelled at the parents.
Hmm. I probably did.
Definitely should have said cursing at me, 12-year-old, buy my shit.
Well,
Pretty
they are
much.
proles. I don't hold it beneath them.
There you go. So I have two final questions for you. If anybody else has any more, please drop them into the chat. So we're kind of like halfway with 2025.
Hmm.
What are some goals that you would like to accomplish this year?
Some goals. Get more gear, get more belts.
Any ones in particular you have your eye on?
No belt is safe from Kalvin.
There I have it. Okay, so I like to like end off my podcast with wrestling with positivity because it's a big thing for my podcast pretty much. Is there anything that you could share with us? You know, maybe something a fan's done, maybe something you've done, maybe something that you've done for a wrestler or maybe a wrestler's done for you. Anything in particular that we wouldn't know unless you shared this story?
Like a favor that a wrestler had done for me.
Something just positive. I mean, we're around a lot of negative when
Hmm.
it comes to wrestling.
Well, the biggest positive that I can talk about at the moment is my last match versus Armani Chaos that I won. My Lumberjack and Jewel match. Um, One of the Jacks, I'm still learning his name. Uh, he didn't per se interfere with the match at all. I won very soundly. It's completely undisputed and cleanly, I might add. And I think just at some point he said a verbal zinger to Armani Chaos, which caused him to look away for a split second, and a split second is all I need to work my magic. So I was very appreciative of that action, so I've kind of taken him under my wing. So obviously his career is going to flourish now, being mentored by somebody as well known, influential, intelligent, and attractive as me.
Okay. So there you have it. So let's talk. Okay, we'll talk some graphics that you sent to me. You know, if you know people want to support you and everything like that. You know, some
They should.
upcoming matches. Let's start there, and then we'll go into if they're not following you, that they should be following you, all that stuff like that. So, but tell everybody what you got coming up.
Of course, the next chaotic show, June 12th, Night Shift Brewery. Again, as I said earlier, I am wrestling Sean, the vegan Keegan. Uh, it's at a brewery, so all of you little degenerates will have plenty of cheap booze to drink while you watch me smack him silly. And then also at the next Rad Pro Wrestling show uh, in Amesbury, Massachusetts at the Lafayette Club. Um, I won't be there, but one of my distant relatives, who I've had so many people tell me is a very attractive guy, Lancelot Bonaducci, he will be there and he will be, as he put it to me in the weird way that he talks, slaying a mighty beast
Mm.
with his horse Bartholomew.
Oh, make sure you're following Rad Pro Wrestling. That's on IWTV. If if you can't be there live, it comes on a later date. The shows on IWTV, so definitely check that out. Shout out to Max Smashmaster. Check out those interviews that I had with him as well. If he breaks down Rad Pro Wrestling a little bit more. Um, yeah, so tell everybody where they could follow you if they're not following you already.
First of all, if you're not following me, crawl out from the rock that you've been living under. Secondly, if you are following me, you're welcome. But yes, I am on Instagram under Kalvin DuMont. Uh, Let me just check real quick to see if there's an underscore there, because I know that can confuse some of the less educated people than myself. Yes, that is Calvin underscore Dumont on Instagram. I am also on Twitter under the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check if that one has an underscore. It does. Both of them, Calvin underscore Dumont. The Calvin is spelled with a K if you're too stupid to realize that. But yes, it has all of my matches that I'm going to have all the graphics posted on it, all the pictures of my beautiful person, and I am soon to create my own DuMont sponsored website as well, where you can find me.
All those links are in my description below to make it easier for you guys. You can click that. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the fans that we haven't touched base on?
Yes, I'm not apologizing for this because I never need to apologize for anything, but I don't know if you're picking up all of that raucous cheering behind me, but that's Fenway Park. My daddy's penthouse overlooks it, so if that has hampered the audio quality at all, again, I'm not sorry, but I'm making you aware of that.
Oh, well, there you have it. So, I want to thank everybody in the chat for your questions and anybody who left any fan tweets. If you're listening to this later, make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button, leave some comments. You know, I'm sure Calvin will love to like read more of your comments out there, pretty much.
Yeah.
But make sure you give him a follow. I will be back on Wednesday with Bear Bronson, so we'll definitely check that out. Any questions that you would like me to ask Bear Bronson live on the pod this week?
Me?
Yes, you.
Um, Ask him when he wants to wrestle me.
Okay, I got you. Definitely make sure you guys subscribe and check us out live on this Wednesday. So with that being said, stay safe, support independent wrestling. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.
Feeling miserable.